Hello everybody, it's the Midlands Outdoors. Welcome back to exploring the Black Country today. Here back on the Black Country canals, we're heading all the way down the Tame Valley Canal. We'll be covering history and little bits and pieces. So let's get into the video and see what we can see. So right, this is actually the Tame Valley Junction, what comes all the way to the Walsall Canal on the far back corner. So if I just walk a bit further down, you can just see the very old bridges just right over to there. And if I just pan around onto this corner, we've got another bridge right onto that corner there once more. So I believe if you take that canal and go all the way up, it will take you all the way to Walsall Basin, going through Wednesbury, going through some other little bits of area. So I might do that one time. So I did the Walsall Canal before, but I cut the video off at this point, but I've never been even further than that. But I can imagine there's lots of history down here. We've even got parts of like a power station thing right around the corner. So right, this is actually an old ordnance survey map. You can just see Walsall Canal, BCN, just by the side of there, and the junction what goes all the way up with Gold's Hill Ironworks. There is a lot of other things onto here, Tile End Furnace Bridge. There's even over the other side, over to there, on the Walsall Canal, lower Ocker Hill branch, and it's actually like a little basin right around the corner where lots of ironworks used to be, Crown Brickworks, old coal shafts, so I believe there was all coal mines right back over to there. So it's really interesting to see quite a lot of industry. Further over the back of that way is actually Ocker Hill. But here's a couple of photos of Ocker Hill Power Station going all the way down. You can just see some really interesting old photos there, especially with the big chimneys sticking right the way up. But right, just walking a bit further on where we get onto the Tame Valley Canal section, I did mention something about power. You can just see if I just zoom in, you've got all that into the distance over there. You've also got lots of pylons what come all the way down. So it is a really interesting canal section. I've never been down here to see what's even further on. Go over this side and I'll show you the bridge from this angle. So right, this bridge here has got a date onto it. It was actually constructed in 1994, and at the top of there it says Ocker Hill Bridge. So originally I thought it was a very old one till I've seen the date up to there. Let's go and head down the Tame Valley Canal and let's see what things we can actually see. There might be some interesting information and history down here once more. So right, I've also just noticed the River Tame, a bit further up on the Tame Valley Canal, comes right away under and goes over to the other side, going underneath the canal. So you can just see right away off the other side down in the dip is actually the River Tame. But if we just view very carefully, what I might do is get over to here. Let's have a little bit of a look down. I'm going to be so careful. But if we view right away down there, you can just see there is like a little bit of an underpassage going right away under. And this is actually part of a Tame down here. It's really cool to see that, so I thought I might have showed you that on the way. But it's a big drop down there. So let's get back up to safety and get back under here. So you can just see, you see new things along the canal lines, what I've never seen before, especially showing you guys. Right, the weather's really changed, so after that nice weather what we've had, it's going really windy. We've had a bit of rain on the way and it has absolutely cooled down to the perfect temperatures of 19 to 20 degrees. This is perfect to cope, and especially really good at the moment for walking within the next few days or so. So I've just spotted a very old bridge onto the corner here, so we'll go and show you that one in a little second. But what we've got to do is try and get over to the other side of the canal, because you can just see it's really overgrown onto this section here. I don't want to get any thorns in my tyres either, so let's go make our way up. So I've just noticed some interesting stuff, I'll show you that a bit in a minute. But I have just noticed this here, so if we just go all the way down, this one is absolutely so old. It's making me wonder, back in the old days, was this linking to industry? So we will get the old ordnance survey maps up and see what was over here back in the past. I think it might have been the coal fields stretching all the way around onto the corner with shafts. And you can just see, not only there, but coming all the way across, I've noticed this. This is really cool. And buried under there, we've also got another siding. Right, let's come a little bit further down. I've also noticed this corner. Here we go, we've got another very old brick wall just coming all the way down. Once more, a bit of derelict land stretching all the way across with a path leading down. And not only that, the wall stretches down this corner. So right, if we just quickly show you this before it rains. I think it's going to drop a rain any minute now. I've literally just spotted all this. I'm not too sure what it is. So that is actually protecting something underneath. Actually no, it's not. I think that's actually the gate for this here. So all this, once more, is all derelict land. So right, if I just quickly zoom in, there's actually a bridge here, screenshot on for you now. I think it could be this one. So I think I'm actually building a new tram line coming all the way across, so there is quite a lot of works going on. But back in the old days, this used to be like a little train line. Right, so if we now head back over this side, you can just get some views. There's industry right away over the back, and you get a nice view of the rail bridge just onto the corner, which has been modernised. But if you can, please drop it in the comments of what you think this bridge was for here, because if I just pan back down one more time, I don't know if it's the style of the bridge itself, but there is a big massive metal thing sticking right the way there, and also on that corner once more. So right, we're at the very bottom at the moment. There might have been another bridge back in the old days, as looking at the old Ordnance Survey maps. This one's called Gold Hill Bridge, leading all the way across. I mean, by viewing of it, it does look really old itself. I mean, it's rusted away at the top, especially how old the brick walls are right the way there. You can obviously tell where that led to industry, because over the other side, it's all derelict land. And then once more, if I just view right away underneath it, you can see the old brick right away there. It's really decaying now. You can see me touching it, that is falling all the way apart and very rusty. I found something really cool to show you once more. So you can see, not only that, there is lots of history down here. There is a nice little arch leading right the way through, and onto the corner there leads to the rail line just onto that corner. So I think they might have modernised the bridge a little bit by putting more steel to support it a bit more better. So when they put the tramway to go all the way through, there's going to be no problems with that bridge at all. But you can just see the bottom end of it here. It's definitely really old, especially seeing that is really cool. And not only that, the Gold Hill Bridge just right away here. So right, if I am correct on some of this, then drop it into the comments. I'm going back to the late 1800s when these maps were actually shown. So we're going back in time, actually showing you what was here, because this really does date back a bit by viewing of it. Possibly could have been late 1800s when this one was even here. So right, just a bit of history and information on the Tame Valley Canal.
The Tame Valley Canal runs from the Walsall Canal to Salford Junction. Opened in 1844, it was a late addition to the Birmingham Canal Navigations and was cut to overcome the long delays building up at Farmers Bridge. Compared with earlier canals, the Tame Valley is relatively sophisticated with high embankments, deep cuttings, brick-lined banks and twin towpaths. The number of locks gave rise amongst boatmen to its nickname as the New 13, to distinguish it from the Old 13 at Farmers Bridge. At Rushall, or Newton Junction, it is joined by the Rushall Canal, meeting it almost directly under the M6. At Salford Junction it is overshadowed by the Spaghetti Junction motorway complex at Gravelly Hill. A cutting near Piercy Aqueduct passes through exposed sandstone that is over 200 million years old. Perry Bar Top Lock is set among old stables, a gauging warehouse and a former BCN house, number 86. All permanently occupied buildings around the BCN were allocated numbers by the Canal Company, the highest numbers issued being 271 and 272 at Ogley Junction to the north.
So there we go, some interesting information and history about the Tame Valley Canal. So it's going to be really cool to explore even further in a little while. But we're just waiting for the rain just to disappear. I didn't think it was supposed to rain today. It said on the weather it's going to be sunny all day, but it's completely changed. So right, let's go and journey on. Let's try and get as far as we can up the canal line itself. Let's go and see what other things we can see and explore. It's going to be a nice little cool one. So I hope you've enjoyed the cinematics there and some of the old photos, really interesting. So journeying further down the canal line, it's actually really changing now from where it was. We've got more houses right away into the distance, just even more factories just right around to the corner. It is going to be interesting to see where this even leads up. I actually can't wait to see. But you can currently see at the moment we're still passing under these pylons right away at the top. There is some old bridges coming up right away now. So right, here we go, we've come across another very old bridge, and I'm guessing this one's industrial. If I just zoom in, you can just see how old it really is, leading all the way to the other side. Let's get the old Ordnance Survey maps up and see what was actually here. So right, we've come under the bridge because I think it's actually going to start raining. But I've just noticed this right around the corner. So I think this bridge is absolutely really old. If I just view in to show you, you can just see some of the metals missing onto the corner here. Then all the way underneath it you see the old brick wall, and then viewing all the way across onto that side there. So right, here's a screenshot for you. I've actually got the old Ordnance Survey maps up. We've got a sand pit just a bit further down. We've got Bulls Hill Bridge, which was actually here in the 1800s. Something called Bulls Hill House, and also some shafts. So maybe there was a colliery somewhere down onto the corner. That is really cool. So I think, by viewing of it, I don't know whether it's actually over on that land over there where the housing estate is. So it goes to show that this bridge really does date back itself. So once more, you can just see right away down there is absolutely tons of industry. So I can imagine that this was an industrialist canal. Things were all towed down this one once more to go to the Walsall Canal and then down to the BCM main line. It would be interesting to note further down if there was actually any loading basins. We'll go down there and see if we can actually find any evidence of any, or see by the old Ordnance Survey maps. So right, when coming down here, I found no evidence of any basins being nearby. But you've just got to pay attention to the areas to see, you know, where things might have been back in the past. But this canal line just goes absolutely so straight, and you can just see it's still joined by housing estates leading all the way down. So right, I think we are getting very, very closer to the motorway section soon. So I think you've got the Rushall Canal, what goes on the left, I believe, if I am correct. I've never been up the Rushall Canal, I've always wanted to go, so it will be interesting if we get there, just to see the park going all the way up to it. So I'm going to have to say this is absolutely awesome. Just like Dudley Port, by that area, there is actually some aqueducts. We've actually got one right away here. So I've just noticed this, we've got a road right away underneath. It's actually similar to the ones that I'm by Dudley Port. And you can just see the canal goes all the way from this section here, then leads over the top of the road. You can just see, you've got the road and you've also got some houses just right around to the corner there. I must say that is absolutely awesome to see an aqueduct like this, and all the way down to there. I must have to say it is a really good engineering marvel how they got the canal to go over the top of the road to lead to the other side. And you know, you think if this aqueduct is really old itself, it's mad to see that no water leaks right away to the bottom to cause drainage, but it's actually been here for many, many years that is still stable. I do find it's really interesting, I really do. But I must say it's definitely really old. Right, let's go and journey on. We've got some more bridges coming right away up, and we're actually not too far away now. Let's go and see what we can see. So right, I was correct. Just right away beneath me now, I think it did lead to the other side. There was some canal loading wharves. So I think we're at a location called Hall Green. So there's a screenshot of some of the loading wharves leading right away out. You can just see Hall Green Iron Foundry, a sand pit, and I think there is something really old right around the corner over there, but I can't get to it. And then really interesting sand and gravel pits right away to the back. So into the distance I have noticed all this sticking right away out. This makes me wonder, because it says sand and gravel pits, whether that bit there was actually colliery, because it's very old brick walls sticking right away out, potentially where industry was actually situated. And just down onto the corner I've noticed a lot of things coming from the side of the ground, whether it's actually colliery. But I think I've noticed right away underneath me the canal used to come this way and go straight away underneath here. I think it did, at least straight away through where this modern industry is today. So there would have been some workings right away to the back. So if we just get on our bike, I'm interested to see what's on the right. It's all dark and sticking out, whether it's actually bits of rock or coal. So right, whatever was on the top of there, this is really cool. It could have been a tramway, it could have been a footbridge leading all the way across, but if I zoom in, that actually led to this corner here, as you can just see. Really does date back a bit. So whatever was on that land could have been so cool. Once more, colliery, sand and gravel pit, I really don't know, but on the old Ordnance Survey maps it said there was a lot of sand and gravel pits right away to the back. But that is really dating back to the 1800s once more. So imagine back in the old days, this would have gone all the way across to meet to the other side. But if I just view behind to show you, you get a really good view of that corner there, and also that corner on that angle. So we've got here Crankhall Lane Bridge right away to the top. So there is actually a new modern part added to the very old bridge itself. And there we go, that is actually the original bridge, surrounded with all the new modern parts just onto the corner. I think it's really cool how they've done this by putting the modern part to join to the old one. As you imagine back in the days, all what there would have been was this one right away here. I can't see any dates at all, but imagine early 1900s, late 1800s itself, when that was possibly constructed. But viewing all the way behind, it's just really crazy when I zoom in how far this Tame Valley goes in a straight line, leading all the way down from the Walsall Canal. So just further in front, I should be getting a little bit closer now. I think we've got more to pass under. But right, let's just keep journeying on and head to the next bridges. They're not too far, they're actually right away down to the bottom. But once more, the canal's changed now. You can just see land stretching all the way on the left and the right. So it is making me wonder once more if all this land was all industrial back in the old days, because you can just see it's all disused, it's all overgrown by nature. And especially up there, I'm probably going to say that all this here was probably colliery back in the old days. Zooming in, you just see how really torn up it is itself. Right, here we go, another industrialist bridge. Friar Park Farm Bridge, what leads all the way across. Yeah, that definitely led to industry back in the old days. That's a really old one. There we go, a very rotten sign just onto the corner. Have no idea what that would have said onto there. But there is even more bridges coming right away up. And I can just see the motorway, so we're probably about another mile or so away from it at the moment. So right, I think this one what we're passing under right away now is a big massive road, dual carriageway that goes all the way across. And this one's called Friar Park Bridge. You see how big it really is if I go underneath it. But yeah, you can just see zooming all the way behind. If I zoom in, you see all the bridges right away down the bottom from where we come from. It's a very long bridge, this one, and all the graffiti on the sides you can just see. But I am walking very carefully with the bike, so I don't risk my chance of getting any punctures from the glass, because we are, believe it or not, a long way from home. And if I walked it with a bike, it would probably take me to about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight just to walk back with it. Come a long distance. And I have to say, there is a lot of aqueducts down this canal line. There's tons of them. There's actually another one coming up right away now. Well, there is something derelict down there then, and we've also got a train line just right away underneath. You can just see if I zoom right away in, got a train just pulling up to a station right away there. I think we've got some more train depots right away at the back, as you can just see the lights sticking right away up. I think at the back of there is Wednesbury, I believe. But there is a lot of derelict land and stuff, what I've noticed on the way down to here. That's really cool to see that. Alright, I can just see the motorway. Let's just pan around to show you. We've got another big aqueduct coming right away up, and the motorway's right away behind there. I think Sandwell Park is right away at the back. I can just see the trees right away into the distance. But there's the motorway right around that angle. And there we go, the motorway. I really didn't think of all the time, you know, travelling up and down the motorway, that there was a canal that went on top of the motorway itself. Because I've always passed here when my dad's took me out in the car. I really can't believe that. I've learned something new already. So absolutely cool to see that, and once more the aqueduct's really thin. Right, I think we're coming back out a bit more quiet now. But I just really can't believe how far this canal really stretches all the way up. It just goes absolutely so far in a straight line. It is making me wonder if it comes out by the motorway somewhere, then you can part off to the Rushall Canal. But as you can just still see, we've got even more parts of the motorway still stretching by the side of us. Right, I'm gonna have to say this is a real stunning view. Check out this. I think down there is actually the River Tame, so it flows right away under. I think that comes under the back here, under the motorway somewhere, I believe. So right, we've come under a junction. I think this is actually Catshill Junction, and you've got Salford Junction, which is actually straight on. So right, we're just coming under the motorway right away now. And not only that, there is another footbridge leading right away to the top. So right, we've actually made it. We're on the Rushall Canal. So I'll tell you a bit of information and history behind it, but you can just see the motorway bridge right away behind. There is a ton of graffiti down here. So this is actually the M6 viaduct bridge. But I must say that is some really cool graffiti with that skeletons right away at the back. So it says here, the Rushall Canal. The line was built in 1847 and created a link from the coalfields of Cannock to the expanded industries of Birmingham. It also provided a source of water for the Tame Valley Canal that at the time had been used by hundreds of boats per month. Because you imagine where we come from, there was a lot of industry down there. Imagine the Black Country days when it was very busy, bringing goods up and down that canal. So you imagine this canal itself was just used for collieries all the way from Cannock. So right, on the old Ordnance Survey maps, it says here towing path, so the horses used to drag all the boats up and down this path what we're on right now. So not only that, according to the maps, there was a load of farms right away at the back. The bridge what you see right away here, I believe, that is actually called Bridleston Bridge. So there used to be something called Hill Farm right away to the back. I don't think it's actually there no more. It's vanished and it's just all overgrown area. But you can just see, compared to the old Ordnance Survey maps to the modern one, how overgrown it is with trees. All the nature's taken back on that land itself. But right, let's go and journey up the Rushall Canal and see what we can discover. I bet it's going to be a nice one. So we'll have a little bit of a journey up and give you some cinematics. So let's go. So I'm going to take a little break. I don't think I'm going to go any further because the canal keeps on going, and if I just overdo myself I'll end all the way up towards Cannock, and I've got the journey all the way back with one battery. So it is nearly touching 1 o'clock and I've got to make a journey back for the time, because I don't want to leave it too late to go back, especially going through all those hours in the States right around the Tame Valley Canal, especially when the kids finish school. So yeah, it's been a journey. I've really enjoyed getting back into the Black Country canals. You could imagine you could expand even further, not just from the Birmingham canals where we have covered before. You've even got the Tame Valley, what goes all the way straight on, and there is some really cool stuff down there that I would love to show you. So when we get time to do that, 2 batteries, we'll head all the way down there and check that out. That is definitely a must. That's on the list to do. But yeah, what a lovely canal. It's just really beautiful. It's full of nature, and the fields what go right away to the back. I think you have got somewhere in the distance what I have seen, Sandwell Valley Park. I think it's right away at the back into the distance. But there is some houses in the States just right away behind there, and I did look on the old Ordnance Survey maps. There wasn't too much industry in the way on this side as you get up to the Rushall Canal. Most of it is where you get to Walsall into Aldridge, and I think there's even further as you get up to Cannock, as it mentioned in the history. A lot of coal mines up there. I think there was tons, I believe. So if we do get a chance as well, we might cover the Rushall Canal even further up in a video, and we might try and get all the way to the end of it if possible. But apart from that, the Midlands Outdoors. See you soon. Take care, guys, and definitely subscribe if you're new. If you want to see more Black Country history and tours across the area to show you new things, then definitely stay subscribed. I really love showing you the area where I live, the Black Country. There's tons of stuff around here, industry, you know, the history of what was there in the past, to always remember it. You know, there's just absolutely so much. You can cover it for days on end. There's just so much of it. And even to travel along canals like this just to see it itself, things where I've never been before. It's nice to show the viewers what we have got and give them new ideas where to go.